It is now time to experience the buzz, a podcast that takes an inside look at amazing people doing amazing things. Get ready for some great conversation that will be fascinating, educational, and inspiring. We will also leave room to help small businesses in a big way. Now, here's your host, entrepreneur Steve Buzzard.
Hello everyone, it's Steve Buzzard. I am the host of Experience the Buzz. So glad to be with you. We do have another installment. It is episode number 130. I am in the A's gear for this reason. We are talking to the bullpen catcher of the Oakland A's. His name is Dustin Hughes. He's got quite a story, and this is one of those pull back the curtain kind of moments where, man, what does a bullpen catcher do? Well, obviously you would think, well, they catch the ball, right, from the pitchers and warm them up. Oh, no, man, they do so much more. And so I'm excited to allow Dustin to really tell his story, and we're going to get to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's time for What's the Buzz, and then we're going to get into our podcast. And on What's the Buzz, I want to invite you to another segment of what we do here on Experience the Buzz. We have a little umbrella. This is the main part of the show that we do, in which I have the opportunity and the honor of being able to talk to people that are in Sacramento, that are small business owners, that are entrepreneurs and personalities. And it's been so fun. Like I said, this is episode number 130. On the flip side, on the YouTube side, you can check us out. It's called First Look. Now, what is that? Well, that is something we started a little over a year ago. And when I say we, it's me and my producer, Michael Kenobi, who's responsible for putting the show together on the production side. And it's a heavy metal segment. It's a reaction video, very popular on YouTube. We got into the space, and I have to tell you, we're having so much fun. We are nearing 150 episodes. So we've been kind of rocking those in and out and having a good time with it. Heavy metal, reacting to it, giving it a score, and man, it's been a journey. So I invite you to check that out. Again, that's on the YouTube side, and that is What's the Buzz. Now, it's time to get to the talking story. It is Dustin Hughes, bullpen catcher of the Oakland A's. This is episode 130. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. I am Steve Buzzard. This is Experience the Buzz, the podcast that brings to you people of Sacramento, whether they be entrepreneurs, small business owners, or just personalities. I'm really pumped today. Yes, you see the A's gear. I'm a huge Oakland A's fan. The baseball season is over. With us today, though, is Dustin Hughes. He is the bullpen catcher for the Oakland Athletics. Dustin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Our connection is actually through the school that Dustin's kids go to at Sacred Heart in East Sacramento. So we finally were able to pull this off. I remember my son Max last year said, "Dad, you're not going to believe who is one of the dads at Sacred Heart." And he went through the whole story. He was so amped up, and it's really cool. I'm excited to really to allow you to unfold this story for us.
I'm awesome. Well, I feel blessed to actually tell it. I mean,
yeah,
it'll be fun.
Well, let's just start there. You're the bullpen catcher of the Oakland A's, and I think it's interesting because with you take anything, right, and you have the stars of the show, the guys that are on the field. But like with this podcast, I have a great producer. He's the behind the scenes guy. You're the behind-the-scenes guy, and you do a lot of work to really make sure that those stars that are on the field are doing their job. So I think the most obvious question is, how did you get to being the bullpen catcher of the Oakland A's? It's been quite a journey.
So it started just kind of with you got to check in with yourself. I was 24 years old, was going into my season to go play in Canada. I was like, I need to get my foot in the door somehow. I just battled injuries, and I had an in with the Sacramento River Cats. Just Todd Steverson took a chance on me and said, "We really need a bullpen catcher. Is this something that you would like to do?" I said, let me just kind of think about it. I didn't really want to hang it up. I mean, no one wants to, but reality check was, you know what, you want to stay in the game. At some point, you need to hang it up. So that was, that was 2008.
Yeah.
So that's when I hopped aboard. We ended up winning the whole thing that year. It was an amazing experience. They invited me to just stay on, and then next thing you know, 7 years go on, and it's 2014. From there, I ended up getting my first big league job by a guy named Brian Price with the Cincinnati Reds. I think I just heard that he's with the Giants now. I'm not sure if that went through.
Oh, okay.
With that whole Bob Melvin thing. But yeah, no, I got my first gig with Cincinnati. It was wonderful. I mean, it was a blast. I had 4 years there. I mean, wouldn't take it back for the world. Then with Brian Price getting let go, that's what the game does. I mean, you just kind of move on and find somewhere else to go. I was lucky enough to be picked up by the Baltimore Orioles. And what happened here? Are we all good?
You're all good.
All right, sorry, something popped up on my screen.
No, all good.
Picked up by the Baltimore Orioles. That was 2015. Or no, what are we talking about now? No, that is 2019. Jeez,
yeah, 2019. That's what I've got in my notes, yes.
Yeah, it goes by fast. So, especially in this game. So I got picked up there. Didn't want to leave, but I had a chance to come back home and work for the A's. That was 2020. I mean, growing up in the Bay Area from Walnut Creek, California, and being able to go back and to work under Bob Melvin, and then also be with the Oakland A's. I mean, that's a dream.
Yeah, and so you unfolded it for us, and that's great. And what a tenure you've had, and you've accepted it. You love it. It's your life now, and you are with the Oakland A's, and that gets me excited. Like I said, big A's fan. But let's go ahead now and go before, like the time when you were a player, because obviously you did very well. You were selected by the Miami Marlins back in 2002, but had opted to go the college route, and you went through 3 junior college stints, and then you mentioned Canada ball. See, I think this is a thing that people don't understand. To me, baseball seems to be the hardest road to get from whatever it be, high school or college, to the big leagues, okay? And obviously there's different levels, right? There's Bryce Harper level, there's Shohei Ohtani level, there's those kind of levels, but that represents a small percentage. The road you travel, that many travel, I think you've really got to be in it or have just that passion to be in it for the long haul. Is that a true statement?
It is, yeah. No, I've always had a passion for this game, and unfortunately, I was a hard-nosed player. I mean, that's just how I was back when I played, and with that, you battle injuries. So I was that guy who always battled injuries. I mean, but I always kept my nose on what I really wanted to do. I wanted to make it to the big leagues somehow. So, I mean, you got to keep your vision. You got to just stay with it. I mean, this game's going to knock you down a ton. And that just goes with part of the game. I mean, just like in life. I mean, it knocks you down, you learn from it, and you just get back up and keep on rolling.
Yeah, I always say with sports, there's so many life lessons to be learned, right? And as a bullpen catcher, another curiosity is like, what does the day look like, right? So let's just take you to the current day. We know it was a tough year for the Oakland A's, but we're putting that aside. When Dustin Hughes goes to work, what does that look like?
Okay, so let's just say bus leaves 12 o'clock. We're on a road game. 12 o'clock, we get to the stadium at 12:30. Everyone has a routine. My routine is you get there, you got to work out, you got to stretch, get your body going. After that, you immediately get into making sure the bags are good. My job is to make sure that anything that goes on in the field, we have baseballs and we have we have everything we need. I mean, from machines to baseballs to weighted balls with the pitchers. I mean, even on deck bags. So you got to make sure all that stuff's good to go, which is kind of cool because you get to dig in, you get to open up the brand new boxes of baseballs. I mean, you got
the smell of a fresh baseball,
right? I mean, it's funny because sometimes I'll be there like, oh man, and I got to open up all these boxes, and then I just sit back and I'm like, okay, it could be worse. I mean,
exactly.
brand new baseball. You're like, now I got to throw mud on it for the pitcher to throw. I mean, but But yeah, you get all that stuff ready, and then you have a little bit of downtime to eat, which there's not a lot of downtime actually. I mean, from there you check on the coaches, you make sure you need something because that's my job. I'm the coach's assistant. Anything they need, I need to make sure that I'm able to
Do
help.
you go to the whole coaching staff, or do you go to the manager, someone specific, or is it just a general question of, hey, is there anything I can do that needs to be done?
So the schedule that comes out, we break it down. We break it down, me and my partner. We break it down every day. It starts with the manager, and then you look at it, and you're like, okay, this coach might need something here. We're doing outfield drills here. And it's like, so you go and you talk to them. You're like, what do you need, man? How can I help you? Today looks like it's going to go pretty quick. Is there anything I can do to make your day easier? And then if they need me to dive into any scouting reports or anything, I mean, I'm there to do all that. Usually that all goes right up to about 3 o'clock. I mean, I get there, that first 3 hours go really quick. And then it's like, okay, we have a bullpen. Who do we got? Sometimes we got 2. My priority is the pitchers.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. I mean, I love being there in the bullpen and just catching them. Really just working on their craft. That takes up about an hour and a half, and that leads right into batting practice. I'm usually throwing group 1 or 2. I mean, depending on what they want me to do. Like I said, I'm flexible. You need me in there. And then when we're on the road, people think we got a lot of time to rest, but most of the time I go in, I either choose, do I want to shower or do I want to eat? Because I got to be out there within 30 minutes.
Right.
I mean, and then we're taking care of the pitcher, and we roll right into the game. Hopefully, after that, I got a 5-inning break.
Okay, so during the game, you're probably obviously down. Let's just take if you're in Oakland, right? You just mentioned it was a road game, but if we're at Oakland, you're down the sideline, in that coveted space there at Oakland Coliseum. You're just hanging out with the boys till it's your turn to get up there and, warm someone up, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it down there. I usually sit at the end of the bullpen. I mean, a couple steps from right there. That's the best view of the stadium right there. You're right on the field. And you got to feel lucky. We're one of the last stadiums with the bullpen on the field.
That's true. That's true.
How do you deal with it? I say, you just deal with it. You got to body up when you got to body up, and you know what? It's fun. It gets the adrenaline going.
Well, and I need to throw this facet in. This is the perfect spot to do it. I'm going to go on record as saying is I believe the Oakland A's have the best, not bat boys, but the ball boys down the sidelines. Like they field better than anybody in Major League Baseball. There's not many balls that get by them on the foul line down the third base side and the first base side. Would you agree?
I would agree. It's very hard because you're right there too. You're always going to be in the limelight. I mean, and those balls are not coming slow.
No.
You know what? It takes a good ball boy to be down the line.
Okay, and then when the game is done, what then is your routine? Because obviously we know with baseball, you play in series, right? So it's almost, I would imagine, part of that is getting ready for the next day kind of deal. But what happens after the game?
I mean, I normally bring up my stuff, and then you take inventory on how much everything you went through. Then you start doing the whole thing over again. Okay, I'm going to need this many balls the next day. I'm going to need to be able to do this. All right. Manager comes out with this stuff, and then you talk to guys ahead of time. Just kind of, what's the game plan? What are we thinking? I mean, you kind of dive right into it right after the game. There's not much time to think.
Yeah.
Like, all right, what's tomorrow look like? I mean,
That's great. Well, Dustin, what I love about it is that, your title is bullpen catcher, but as you've described, you do so much more. And this is the thing, is that this is why I love pulling back the curtain on things like this, because no one would ever know, right? No one would really, truly ever know what goes behind the scenes. And so I do thank you for that. And I am curious, is like your relationship with the pitchers. I would imagine, with the catcher who's on the team, right? Whether it be a Stephen Vogt or, who's our catcher now? Why am I blanking? Our man.
Oh. Dang it. Sorry.
Oh, man, we're both blinking. This is not good. See, I am terrible. I am terrible because I admit it's been so tough this year that I checked out Rosen White.
Langoliers. My bad.
Yeah, Langoliers. Thank you.
Gosh,
Sorry, Shay.
I even forgot that. That's my
Shay,
bad.
our apologies. Our apologies. But
Shay. I should have.
yeah, that's on both of us, but more on me. More on me here. But so they have a relationship, obviously, with the pitchers, but you do as well. Is it the same or different, or how does that look? Because you come more from like a coaching kind of standpoint, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of the same communication. The thing with me is I'm more on the coaching side. We create our relationships. Everyone's very goal oriented. Our goal is to be on the same page.
Yeah.
When it really comes down to it, we're always just trying to make sure that everyone is a core group as far as the pitchers, catchers, and we're all learning as a core group to move forward. So actually, when we talk about it, yes, we are very tight-knit. We talk about things. Catchers will tell us what they see, so then in bullpens, we can look for it. The pitching coaches will tell us little things to look for. If we see stuff, we'll communicate it to the catchers as well. We just really try to be a really tight core, or a really tight-knit group. I mean, you spend 8 months out of the year with each other.
Right.
I mean, it's you live and you learn, and there's no secrets.
No secrets. That's right. That's a tight bond. And so you mentioned 162 games. We know that you're going to be at the Oakland Coliseum for 81. You mentioned going on the road. I think out of curiosity, how many of those road games do you actually attend? Are you on all of them, or is it a portion? How does that work?
Every single one.
Wow.
I'm with the team all the way from when spring training starts till the end of the season.
Okay, that part I didn't know. Wow. Okay, so you are in the trenches, and so I didn't want to get specific yet, but I mean we might as well go there because Mark Kotze, who is the manager now, you mentioned being a tight-knit group, and I think you could say that probably for every kind of Major League Baseball team. But when Bob Melvin, he left for San Diego, Kotze comes in. Talk about that transition because you've mentioned it. You started in Cincinnati, went to Baltimore, went to Oakland. So you, like players, are moving around and you're having to get used to different systems. What is that like, having a transition from either team to team or just manager to manager in this case?
I mean, you pretty much got to learn who the manager are or who they are. I mean, I knew Kotze before he was with the A's. Him and Bob are completely different managers. Bob is more of the silent type of manager, and Kotze, he could be in your face, but also he's kind of like that dad figure around there. He's got it. Let's be real. We have a lot of kids on our team right now. I mean, and I say that because I'm 40 years old. We're talking about 21 to 24-year-olds. I mean, that's what I'm calling kids. So, I mean, it's just he has a whole different group to work with. But it's fun to deal with the different minds of the game. I mean, I'm dealing with some of the best managers in the game, and it's just really fun to see how each manager approaches their job, especially with a group that is, well, we had the 2020 A's with Bob Melvin, which, I mean, you know who they are. We were quite a team then, and now we have our 2023 A's, which we have a bunch of young guys that are going to be our future.
Right.
So it's completely two different types of managing.
And that leads into my next question is you have literally had like opposite ends of the spectrum, right? The 2020 team loaded with guys that are, yes, on other teams, are all-stars, have gone to the World Series. Marcus Semion's now a World Series champion, to a team of, let's face it, a lot of people that we don't know or haven't known and are just getting used to seeing. Does anything change from your standpoint? Like from the business standpoint of baseball and how you deal day to day, what does that look like? I imagine it's probably easier to deal with guys who are on that 2020 team because they kind of know the deal, to now you're really having to overemphasize and teach and help coach this game to guys who are just freshly coming in. And we're not talking about one or two guys that are coming in. We're talking up in the neighborhood of, well, in the case of this team, 6, 7, 8, 9 that are coming in. So what's that like?
It's kind of almost, it's funny because you get a group of simians and stuff like that, and they've kind of already made their name, and then you have a group like we dealt with this year. It's truly making them believe that they belong there. I mean, you feel like you get pushed up quick, and you get thrown in this role, and you're like, am I ready? I don't know, but you are ready. You just need to know it. It's like, we brought you up for a reason. You're here to just prove that you got it. You're here. I mean, show it off. Like, there's a little bit more coaching to make sure that these kids believe exactly that you're here for a reason.
Yeah. Well, and I think the Oakland A's are in a very unique situation because I don't think I say we because I'm a fan, haven't been here in a long time. It's always been, we had a great team and then we'd ship off one or two, right? But that all changed in 2020 after that year, actually 2021, where everyone just got shipped off and it was like a totally brand new team. So, yeah, I mean, the Oakland A's, we're hoping for a bright future. I always say everything kind of ebbs and flows.
In these days, though.
Right? Exactly.
We got some boys that know how to grind it out, and we got one hell of a captain.
Well, and to give credit to the team this year, first of all, I have a lot of respect for Mark Kotsay. To be able to manage this type of team, and for the individuals who played on this team, actually did much better in the second half than they did the first half. So you always try to work on the hope of, okay, what's ahead, and build on what you tried to do. So Dustin, I've got to ask you, putting on the baseball uniform. I mean, just putting on the uniform. That's got to feel good. Like, you are in it. You are in Major League Baseball. You probably have what you would say the best seat in the house. Because you're right there in the game. Kind of describe that for us, because just as a fan, I would gladly take your spot. But I don't have the talent.
Hey, man, you might. Let's get you out there. Let me run you through some.
I don't know, Dustin. I could be pretty darn ugly.
You know what? Every year the meaning gets, it's better and better of just putting on that uniform, because you're getting older and older, and I don't know how much longer I'll be doing it. But, the pride of just being able to put it on, especially for a team like the A's, and look at all those people that actually got to wear those unis.
Yep.
Come on. The white home unis might be the best unis in baseball.
I agree.
It's just, you put it on opening day, you're out there, and if you don't have chills, I got to be in a different industry. Even just any game, you go out there and I still get the chills, and just, last game of the season to right in the middle to, it's one hell of an experience.
Yeah.
To just sit in front of my locker, and now to have my kid come in, or kids, and just kind of be in my locker, it brings on a whole new meaning.
I love that. Well,
I wouldn't pass it up for the world.
Well, of course not. Of course not. And that's why I think it's important to share your story so that people see, like, wow, okay, this is cool from a different perspective, And the fact that you are with them the whole 162 games, I did not realize that. I thought it was home games and selected road games, but you are with the staff, so you are really there for the full 162. And you mentioned turning 40 years of age, which, hey, that's a milestone in itself. Are you good with 40?
Huh?
Are you good with 40?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay, I like it.
You can't run from it. No, you just embrace it and keep on going.
So when you got that opportunity to move to the major league level, because you were with the River Cats, as you mentioned, for 7 years, and it's kind of interesting because I did read, and I can't wait to talk about your dad. Your dad's going to be in the next segment, because that's a special piece of this story that you are going to be able to share. But you had an opportunity to actually play in a game, right, for the River Cats, where something happened and they needed to call you in. Did that happen?
No, I didn't get called in at any point. No.
Oh, man.
I wish. No, I 100% wish. I wish they were like, hey, bring him in.
You know what? I may have read it wrong in the story. I'm sorry, because, yeah, you would have done it in a heartbeat. So
I would have been like, no, pick me. I'm right here. Come on.
Just erase that. Just erase that. Let's talk about when you went from the River Cats to the Cincinnati Reds. We know that any kind of like line of work, it's going to be about connections. It's going to be about people you know. And I know you take a lot of pride in what you do. And I think that is what helped you move along to the next level, because people saw that, right? And I'm going to take a quote that you used in one of the, actually a story that was done on you and your dad, which, man, was so awesome. You said, everything has to be up to MLB standard. And it talks about doing the little things, going above and beyond. So things that we would think that are just, no big deal. No, that's not how you treat things. So that gets you to Cincinnati. What was that like? Your first game with Cincinnati? So I'm trying to get kind of like that debut of being in the major leagues as a bullpen catcher for the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, man. That was...
Whoops. Sorry about that.
That is all good. No, that honestly was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, to be in that city for opening day.
Yeah.
They put on quite an opening day. If you haven't been, I'd suggest going to that one.
Okay, so bucket list. I have not been to Cincinnati. That's one I have not been to.
Good old parade. You got it all. You got the red carpet and all of that. They do a great job. But then you walk out in the stadium and it's a party. I mean, that opening day was something else. I mean, and then you get out there and you're like, oh, I got to play catch now.
Yeah, right.
You look at it, you're like, can I throw this thing? This guy's only 5 feet in front of me. And you're like, whatever, here we go.
Well, it's like the people that get out there to do the first pitch and they launch it to the left or something. People don't understand the nerves that go into play, right? With like what you're doing, if you're throwing the first pitch or something, it's such a vast environment that you're in. And so you go from Cincinnati. I know you only had 1 year in Baltimore. I tell you what, Camden Yards, one of my favorite. I do love Camden Yards. What are your thoughts on Camden Yards?
It's a beautiful yard.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a great job there. The grounds crew is amazing, all the way to that brick building in right field. I mean, it was one of my last stadiums I had to be to get to all of them. And just to walk in there, and lucky enough to work there, so I get to see the ins and outs. It was quite an experience. I love that stadium.
So we mentioned places you worked at, but you've been all over MLB. You've been to every stadium. So usually I would save this for the end of the conversation, but since we're in it, what would be your favorites? You can give us a top 3. You don't have to give them in order. And I am curious of what your top stadiums are.
My top stadium is Fenway. It's just a great atmosphere. It was my last stadium I had to be to. It's in my heart right there.
Nice.
And one day I got to go do my own tour around the stadium, to go inside of the Green Monster, to be able to throw batting practice and give up home runs on that park. And I'm like, man, it was just one heck of a party too. They do a good job there, especially with the music and keeping the fans involved. I mean, it's like you're in a movie.
Okay, so Fenway it is. Any others that get maybe an honorable mention?
Yeah, I mean, with the remodel that's going on in Toronto, that's turning into quite a stadium. I mean, especially looking at what they did in the outfield, and then they're going to redo the rest of this year. It's going to be beautiful.
I feel like one of these days we're going to get something like SoFi Stadium, the home of the Chargers and Rams. It's going to happen in baseball too,
Right.
I mean, they're so beautiful, but that brings us back to Oakland. I mean, it's one of the oldest, I believe it is the oldest stadiums in MLB. For me, I love it. But I know others complain about it for, whatever reasons. It's not as modern as the other stadiums and stuff, but it's still, I think I love it because it holds that history. And there's something to be said for that. I remember Yankee Stadium. I didn't get a chance to go to the old stadium, but we went to the new stadium, and I felt like it didn't feel the same at New Yankee Stadium as I knew it would have been if I went to old Yankee Stadium. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. No, I mean, I love Oakland. I mean, I love everything about that stadium. I mean, I love that old feel. I love having to go to the bathroom and having to use that urinal over there. But that was me growing up. I mean, taking Bart from Walnut Creek and walking across the bridge and looking through the fence before Mount Davis was there. I mean, I love that stadium. I love everything about that stadium. You can bag on it all you want, but that's home for me.
I love it. I love it. All right, well, that's the first segment, everybody. Dustin Hughes, again, bullpen catcher for the Oakland A's. Listen, I told Dustin before we came on, I said if we wanted to, we could probably do a couple of hours, just because I believe baseball, again, is that one sport that there's so much appreciation for it because it's so intricate, it's so complex, and it's such a beautiful thing. There's nothing like walking into a ballpark. Could be opening day, could be any day, but something about walking in a park. I can't say the same for football, and I can't say the same for basketball. That's just me. I mean, baseball just has that beauty to it. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to dive into this awesome relationship that Dustin has with his dad. And in fact, they are together now with the Oakland A's, but it goes way, way back to the days of Cal baseball. And John Hughes, we're going to find out about him and the great relationship with his son. We'll take a break and be back with more right here on Experience the Buzz. It is time to thank our sponsors. Let us do so. We've got 3 of them, and we're including our brand new sponsor, and that would be MiKimos. That's right, MiKimos Barbecue and Catering. You can find them on Instagram. That's MiKimos_barbecue, spelled out BARBECUE. That's how it's spelled right there. And of course, the co-owner is the producer of this program, Michael Kenobi. We had him on the show to talk about his brand new adventure. You can check that out. That is in last week's episode number 129. We are glad to have MiKimos aboard. Then there's the original 2. Big thank you to Pitboss Jerky and R5 Stitch and Print. Pitboss Jerky, full of 11 flavors, including one that is named right after the show. It is called the Buzz Experience. They had to alter the name a little bit. You can get on the order board. The number, I should have this known by heart, but it is 916-769-6807. Again, 11 amazing flavors to get your hands on. They are located in the community. If you go to Amy's Hardware, the 2 locations in Sacramento and one up in El Dorado Hills, they have it on hand that you can purchase there as well. R5 Stitch and Print, big thank you to my good friend Troy Rousey. He's done a lot of work for me. You can find them at r5print.com. They can take care of all your needs. They have a graphic design artist that is in place. I believe her name is Grace. She is amazing, and they will do amazing work for you. So those are the sponsors of ETB. Again, MiKimos, Pitboss Jerky, and R5 Stitch and Print. Now back to my conversation with bullpen catcher of the Oakland Athletics, Dustin Hughes.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode of Experience the Buzz by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. It means everything. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. We are talking baseball. That's right. And Declan I just called you your son. Can you believe that? Dustin Hughes. Declan's his son. He's got 3 children, 2 of them at Sacred Heart. That's where I teach right now. That is our connection. But Dustin Hughes is with us, bullpen catcher for the Oakland A's, just finishing up another season. All of this started for Dustin back in 2008, was with the Sacramento River Cats, then was able to jump on the major league level with the Cincinnati Reds, 1 year with the Baltimore Orioles, and now currently he is with the Oakland A's. So before we get into this great relationship you have with your dad and what baseball is all about, World Series, now that it's over, we can kind of talk about it. What were your thoughts on the playoffs? I thought they were outstanding this year.
I thought it was great to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch this year. I mean, honestly, it went exactly how I wanted it to go.
Yeah, I'm with you.
from the
Now,
end
I
of
will
the
say
ball.
my dark horse coming in, I was rooting for like a team like the Baltimore Orioles, something like that, and they got bounced. In fact, those first round wild cards, everyone got swept. But everything from that point on, I mean, all the series were great. There were great games, and then we get the battle of Texas Arizona, and I thought, like you said, it went very well. I don't care about ratings. I just want to see great baseball, and we got great baseball.
Right? I mean, we really did. It was a lot of fun to watch. And then, I mean, I was kind of happy to see Simeon hit that
Yep.
homer at the end.
Yeah.
It kind of pumped me up a little bit.
Yeah, and we're used to that as Oakland A's fans. As you know, we lose our superstars, right? But it always is fun to see them go on and do good things. And you know what? For the most part, I'd say 9 times out of 10, they do really well, which then makes you sad because you're like, oh man, if we could have just kept them, because when everything started to unfold, it all started with Bob Melvin. When he got the blessing to go interview for San Diego, I knew right at that point, I said, it's going to be a landslide from here on out. And of course, that is exactly what happened. And it was unlike any offseason that I know. So speaking of off seasons, what is the off season like for you? Like, we know players continue to train, but do you get like a serious break, or what is involved with what you do as far as the off season?
I mean, for the most part, I get a pretty good break.
Yeah.
Which is great because I get to just dive into that family time that I miss throughout the season. I mean, but you really hit it running. I mean, we're right into school time, early mornings and all that. But I try to stay in the game. I mean, I usually take about a month and a half off, which that's almost over now, and then I just get right back into it. I mean, you can't. I'm antique farm equipment. You got to keep the arm going. I mean,
that's right, because you do a lot of things. Not only catching, but like you said, you throw bullpen. You throw pitching, or batting practice and everything. So there's a lot to that. Man, we could dive into that too. I mean, you don't realize like the talent it actually takes to be able to. I think everybody thinks like home run derby. Right? They concentrate on those pitchers that are just trying to dish those up. There is an art form to it, isn't there? We might as well hit it right now, right?
Yes, there is. There's a huge art form to it. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I take a lot of respect, or not respect, but a lot of pride in what I do as far as throwing and batting practice. The guy tells me, hey, throw it away right here this round. I want to make sure that every ball is going to be away to where he can hit it exactly where he wants. Throw it in. Like, I want to be able to just pretty much put it on the tee that you want.
Right.
I mean, it's about quality, not quantity. I mean,
exactly.
We're there for a reason. Let's
and really, it's a position too, Dustin, where you don't mind if the guys are hitting home runs off you.
No, not at all. But like I tell people, I mean, I'd have a sore neck if I was a pitcher. I mean, sometimes I give up so many. I mean, I just.
Let's talk about your dad.
I don't need to go through the balls today. They're all gone.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about your dad. This is a transition. I came across a story. I like to do a little research and stuff. And this story that was written about you and your dad, I just thought was amazing. They got great pictures. They showed one where you're on his shoulders during his time at Cal. And like, to me, I'm like, okay, that's what it's all about right there, right? Can you talk about your dad, John Hughes? I know he's age 71, but man, what a great relationship you guys have had.
Yeah, we really have. I've been blessed to grow up with a father figure like him, let alone my best friend. I mean, it's funny, you grow up and you're like, I'm not listening to my dad. I would have listened to him for the longest time, and now I'm like, why didn't I? It would have been the smartest thing I would have done a long time ago. I mean, I waited all this time. But,
and it's where it starts too. Like his days at Cal, where he was a pitching coach, like you were there, right? You were there, and that's usually where it starts. Is you're just tagging along. I think of the Steph Currys and stuff. He too was tagging along with dad. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He was tagging along with his dad. You're doing exactly the same thing, and now you guys get to live the dream together. And we should mention he was a pitching coach under the very famous Bob Milano out of Cal, and he's a scout. So he's a longtime scout for the Montreal Expos and the Florida Marlins, and now currently is with the Oakland A. So you guys are working together, correct?
Correct.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. I mean, we always joked about it for years. Like, oh, wouldn't that be great if we worked on the same team? And then we're like, that would never happen. They'd never hire us. And then next thing you know, I mean, we just ended up on the A's. It was kind of cool. We signed a contract on the same day in the same building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a moment. And maybe describe like what he does. Like people understand like what a scout is, but that's a whole different world too. I may have to have him on to describe what being a scout is, but at least you have a kind of an inside look on what that might be.
Yeah, so he was an area scout for a long time. So he looks at all the high school players to junior college, and then once the draft is over, then he will go into pro coverage or wherever the club needs him. He's worked his way up, and I mean he's one of a kind when it comes to a pitching guy. I mean, the Oakland A's are very lucky to have him, and that's pretty much what he concentrates on now is the pitching side. Before it was the whole thing. Now, I mean, he just pretty much looks at kind of the best pitchers around for the Oakland A's. I mean,
not a bad job.
Not a bad gig, but you know what is funny because he loves going and finding the diamond in the rough. He just can't stop going to games, which it's
well, and I think that's the never-ending like goal, right? Like you're finding those diamonds in the rough that you can talk about and say, yeah, I was the one who found him or saw him when he was 17 or whatever the case might be. I mean, that's got to be very exciting. So is that the big part of his job that he enjoys?
Yeah, I mean, he really loves to get to know the kids. And I mean, it's a little different now because you have to deal with agents, but he used to tell me the best times are when you could really get in and learn who the family was and who the kids were and just really kind of guide them before it became a time of agents. But still, he really enjoys it. He is involved in the scout league teams, like the A's scout area code team. But he's involved in the area. I mean, he's constantly doing stuff. But yes, I mean, he's really good at finding that diamond in the rough. I mean, he's got that eye. And
that's it. He's got the eye.
He does.
That's huge. That's huge. Okay, well, I mean, you guys are working together. It's good stuff. I know it did say in the story he was responsible for players like Mark Canha. We all know Mark Canha, Dontrell Willis, but he did miss out on somebody pretty good. Who was that guy?
I guess he was all right. I mean, a guy named Tom Brady. Yeah. It's funny because he always goes, man, I could have ruined that guy's career.
Isn't that crazy that he knew Tom Brady at a time where none of this was, taking place or he was going to go the path of football? He obviously was a very good athlete, no doubt about it, but he got to see that window of time for a Hall of Famer, which is just crazy to me. Hall of Famer in a different sport, in football.
Yeah. To be able to find someone like that and be able to hang around them. I mean, I know he has a lot of respect for that family. We'll still talk to him from time to time. But my dad did say he was something special. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
But the thing is, you don't know if he would have made it. This game of baseball is very, very hard. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing with, other dual athletes. Pat Mahomes, would he, what kind of baseball player would he have been? The ones we think of, obviously, are Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson, to me, who hands down was the best two-sport athlete. Deion's right there. He's right underneath, but Bo Jackson had that wow factor.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I got to ask.
I'm not saying he couldn't do it. I mean,
no.
He had all the tools to do it.
Absolutely. So, we're almost 40 minutes into this conversation, and visually, we've got all these bobbleheads behind you. Yeah. So I'm sure people that are seeing this visually are like, okay, tell me about the bobbleheads. And this is cool what you do. Tell us what you do in terms of like when you go around the stadiums.
So, I mean, I love bobbleheads. I've always loved them since I was a kid. So every stadium I go to, I'm like, hey, you guys got any bobbleheads you're giving out? I mean, you got any old ones? So I've collected pretty much from every stadium that I've gone to. I got all these right here, but little do you see, I got 2 more shelves full, which probably brings it to a total of about 300. So,
and these bobbleheads, they do invite a price, right? So I'm curious, obviously you're a collector, but have you been tipped off by any of those bobbleheads that maybe someone told you, yeah, this could be worth? Because I know, like when you get certain bobbleheads in stadiums, depending on who they are, again, Shohei comes to mind, because we went to an Angels game and they had I think it was a shirt, it had Shohei's face all over it. And I found out later, I gave it away. I found out later that thing was drawing a lot of money. So the bobblehead business, is there any talk about that, or are you simply a collector?
I'm just a collector.
Okay.
I don't even keep the boxes. I just throw out the boxes.
Okay.
For me,
You're a real collector.
I love how it looks.
Yeah.
They're so cool. Especially, I started back when it was just the face of the pool, like it was the same thing all the way across the bobbleheads. And now you actually have the players. I mean, it's cool looking back. I mean, big old Reggie Jackson and Ricky Henderson.
That's cool. Yeah, I see the Reggie up there. Because I was going to ask you, what were your first?
One right there.
Yeah, what were your first bobbleheads that you got as a kid? Do you have those up there as well?
You know what? I do not. I have one that was one of my first ones that was, it's at my dad's house. And
okay.
It was actually given to me from him, and it was an old Colts football one.
Oh, okay.
A little bar across the face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then my second one was Willie Mays. It was a plastic one, and a little plastic bobblehead. I think that's still at his house too.
I love it. Another great facet of baseball. So as we kind of wrap things up here, I'm curious, we haven't even got to the part where it's like, I'm sure there's some amazing like stories and people you have met along the way. You've met everybody in Major League Baseball. Is there a story or people or person, a player that stands out to you that you could share with the audience? I know the list is numerous, but does one stick out?
I remember when I was lucky enough when my dad was with the Expos to go on the field for batting practice. This was, I think, 94, 95. Wow. Back when that, they were one of the best teams in baseball.
Was that Tim Raines, Andre Dawson?
That was we had Rondo White.
Okay.
Vladimir Guerrero, Pedro Martinez.
Okay, so it was a little after,
Larry Walker.
Yep, so, Larry Walker. Oh my gosh. Larry Walker as an Expo was amazing. I mean, he was great as a Colorado Rocky, no doubt. But Walker as an Expo, loved it.
Yeah, and it was funny because it's called the Turtle, the batting practice cage.
Uh-huh.
So I was lucky enough to be standing up next to it. So my dad's like, here, and I'm standing up next to it. And I'm maybe 10 years old, just sitting there like, oh man, look at this. Is that giant stadium? A candlestick. And next thing you know, someone's nudging me, and I look, and it's Larry Walker, but I don't think anything of it. And then he goes in and hits, comes back out, and get a double nudge. I look. And he goes in and hits again, and then he comes back out and does it again, and this guy goes, hey, Larry, you've been messing with this kid the whole time. The least you can do is hit him a home run. Hey, kid, you want a home run? And I'm like, starstruck, like, okay. And he hits one, and it barely goes over the fence.
Oh, my gosh.
And he goes, no, that's not good enough. Hits another one, and he goes to where that little Barry Bonds area was.
Yeah.
Back where that horn was. He's like, no, that's not good enough. And then he hits another one. He goes top deck, second row, back. He goes, hey, kid, that good enough? And I'm like,
oh my.
Furthest ball I've ever seen hit. And for those that have been at Candlestick,
yep,
that's a long way.
Larry could stroke it, man. He was a good lefty.
Yeah.
That's cool, though. He did that just for you. That was just for you.
Right? Messing with me the whole time. I'm looking
right.
at him like, is it him? It can't be him. He can't be messing with me.
Yeah, but see, that's what I love, Dustin, is I love when athletes, and listen, I know they can't do it all the time, but when they can provide memories like the one you were able to have that you are still able to talk about this day, see, that's what it's all about. I love it. And I know you can talk about all sports, but again, baseball comes to it. I'm saying what I'm saying about, baseball. What is your answer to that? When you compare baseball to other sports, how would you describe that for people?
Baseball's hard to understand. I get it. It's a smart person sport.
No, it's true. It's true.
There's so many rules to this game.
Yep.
It's really hard to dive in and understand from people on the outside. You understand once you play it a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But to compare it to another sport, is that what you're asking?
Well, I think saying that is true. What you said there is it's a smart person's game. There's no doubt about it. And just even with this year, I am curious about your thoughts about the rule changes. I think the rule changes, I personally thought it went well, especially with the uptick in the stolen bases with the bigger bags and the ability to only have to go over to first base, twice. And so it seemed like the games did speed up. What were your thoughts on that from a player's perspective?
At the beginning, I was like, all right, what do we got here?
Right.
I'm looking at these bases that look like pizza boxes, and I'm just what are we doing here? And I'm like, all right, like anything, let's let it play out and see how it is. And I'm looking at this clock, this is never enough time.
Right.
And then, as it went on and it unfolded, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the guys in motion. It allows the catchers to show off their arm.
Yep.
I love the base. I love the stolen bases. Who doesn't? And it adds a little bit more to the game.
It does.
Tempo,
Absolutely.
It gets that tempo back. Which we lost it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know what? I just thought of a question. Your thoughts on small ball. Because when I talk to my kids and I say, okay, guy gets to first base, maybe I'm down by a run or whatever, gets to first base, let's try to bunt him over, okay, then get that hit through the infield, score that run. They disagree with me. They said, Dad, that's not how baseball is played. And what I did notice is that usually in the playoffs, it kind of rears its head. The small ball rears its head. Never during the regular season. I don't think Bob was too much of a small ball guy. Kotze so-so. But can you speak to that? Because I need help on this one. Because I'm going, small ball is where it's at. That's how you score runs, especially if you need to come back.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan of the small ball.
Thank you.
Because you know what? Those easy plays are the hardest plays to make in baseball.
Exactly.
Yeah, speed up the game on them.
Yep.
On that button, oh no, I gotta go get it. And
right.
It's all I gotta do is run to the base as fast as I can. They gotta get the ball. They gotta hopefully not bobble it, throw it to first base. There's
so well said.
I love
so well said because
hit and runs huge. Just play the game.
Yeah, just play the game. Thank you. Okay, you know what? I feel so much better.
Plus years. We've been playing small ball for years. There's a reason they save it for the best part of the season.
Right? Because that's when it matters the most. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, you're in the off season. The future's bright. I hope you get to stay with the Oakland A's many, many years. And obviously, we'll just throw it out there. And I know we know the situation, right? I still believe they're going to stay in Oakland. I don't know why. I feel like there's a thread of hope. Is there anything that you can share that isn't that is probably already public knowledge? Is the team going to go to Las Vegas? Do we know? How does this work out? And how does that affect you? Because if you are a Sacramento guy and you've made this life work for yourself as being a part of the Oakland A's and now you move to Las Vegas, that obviously is going to be an effect for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes and plays into it. Especially with the family and us living in Sacramento. But honestly, to be real, I know just about as much as the fans do. Unfortunately, I wish I did know more, but I just got to keep on doing my job and stay positive because I am an Oakland fan. I'm from the Bay Area. I would love to see him stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know just about as much as everyone else.
Okay, well, that's good to know, and that's why I had to ask the question, and I appreciate and respect that answer there. So thank you so much for talking baseball. I mean, this was so much fun, and Dustin, I appreciate you just pulling that curtain back for us and letting us know like what it is that you do, and I think people will have a deeper appreciation. I believe you're number 42, right? So when we're on the field, we can look for you, correct?
Yeah, I wish I was 42. No, I'm number 91.
Oh, you're 91. Why did I see 42? Man, I am messing this up.
If I was Jackie Robinson, that would be great.
Oh, that would be great. Okay, maybe, I don't know what. Okay, listen, it's got me flustered. Number 91, Dustin Hughes, and you can find him, especially at the Oakland A's games. You'll just see him down the third base side, which you said is like one of the only ones where they have that. It is pretty amazing that they still have that, where you're just down the line and you're open to the baseball. But still, it is a definite beauty, the Oakland Coliseum. And Dustin, it's so good that you've had this opportunity to really live out your dream in such a, I would say, a unique way. And I hope you keep it going.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Of course. He is Dustin Hughes. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back with a final word, and then we'll get you ready for next week's episode. This was a great one. Episode number 130, Dustin Hughes, bullpen catcher for our team, the Oakland A's. We'll be back right after this.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode of Experience the Buzz by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. It means everything. Now, back to the show.
All right, well, there you have it. Another episode. I feel so much better now because it's 2 weeks in a row that we have put together an episode. Dustin Hughes, big thank you to him. And as a baseball fan, I hope you appreciate today's story. Great to hear just what it's all about when you're in a position like Dustin is as the bullpen catcher of a Major League Baseball team, right? And he's happy. He's loving it. Good life, has a great family. And I hope he stays in Oakland a long, long time. And speaking of staying in Oakland, I hope the A's stay in Oakland and don't move to Las Vegas. That cannot happen. Please, Bo, please. So we are going to say goodbye for now. And of course, we'll have another episode coming your way. That's what we do here on Experience the Buzz. And if you'd like, you could subscribe. That would just alert you to brand new materials coming our way or coming your way. And we look forward to that. So that's all I got for now. Talk to you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for joining Steve this week on Experience the Buzz. Steve would love to hear from you. Leave a review or contact Steve directly with any questions at scbuzzard@gmail.com. To see the other adventures of Steve Buzzard, be sure to visit buzzardball.com.